This episode is sponsored by Fairfax Football Academy, the best QB training and development in Northern Virginia. Follow Fairfax Football Academy on IG at Fairfax Football Academy. You'll do so if you know what's good for you. All right, welcome back to All Hitches, Nova's favorite football podcast. Coach Mesa, happy Sunday and happy opening NFL day, buddy.
Yeah, exciting. A lot of good college games on yesterday. It's always good when the Irish lose. Being a USC fan, it's always good to watch the Irish
that's dirty.
Blow it at home. So all you Irish fans, that's what you get, and that comes from a good Catholic boy who goes to mass every week. I can't stand the Irish, so it was good watching that.
That's a gut punch to any of the fighting Irish fans out there.
It is. I think I'm gonna go controversial. Next, we're gonna talk about our political views. I'm a big Bull Moose Party guy, so me and Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go. There you go. Hey, look, man, I'm excited. You know, all these games going on today. Like you said, all the games that went on Saturday, Sunday, then Friday night. The games were outstanding. Week two. Delivered and been the sleeper that I said it was going to be. I'm banging the table for week two, man.
Well, we have to see a lot of how these teams really are, right? I think you and I had talked, where we saw some of the scrimmage results, and so we thought we had an idea, and then turns out we did not have an idea. Like there are teams that did really well in scrimmages, and even week one, and then all of a sudden things have changed, and it makes things interesting, right? But that's why they play the game, right? Yeah, that's why they play the game.
I feel like I think I texted you on Saturday, or maybe I leaned over because we were watching the games. I forgot together, so I don't know what it was, but I think I told you. I said one of the games happened, and I said, "Man, we should maybe forget about the scrimmages, man. Forget about paying attention to the scrimmages.
Yeah.
Playing them is important. I don't mean that part of it, but in terms of the media trying to say, hey, well, this happened in that scrimmage, so I think this team might be great this year. I'm taking all that back.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very, very telling, right?
Yes.
We saw some teams kind of rise up. We saw some other teams kind of take a step back. But and we're into it, right? We're two games in. We are what's this, 20%? We're 20% of the way done the season.
Yep.
A fifth of the way done.
Fifth of the way done. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Well, look, a lot of highlights, a lot of players of the week, a lot of stats to break it down and get into. Let's jump right into it today, man, because this is some good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start off with our players of the week, and we got some good ones here. Starting with the National Conference. Conference.
Yeah, so a lot of the national teams were either off, and some of the national teams struggled this week. We had some teams out there struggling. We had some good games. We decided to go with, and I'm going to blow this name because I apologize, and hopefully Laith, when you send us something, we're going with Laith Thibodeau.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going with. Laith Thibodeau.
Sounds right.
A linebacker for your Lewis Lancers.
Yeah, man.
Defensive guy. He's our first defensive guy.
Congratulations. Defensive player of the week.
Yeah, so exciting. He had 12 tackles, a TFL, tackle for a loss, and he had a block punt. So,
wow.
Way to work out there from a guy who played linebacker. Sometimes, especially depending on where you play at linebacker, I played the will. And so a lot of times I would set the edge and I wouldn't get the tackle. Somebody else would make the tackle, strong safety, or maybe an inside backer flowing through. So sometimes it's tough to get those stats. So
you did your job, right? You did your job.
I did my job.
Right.
So congratulations. We got a guy who's a full-time linebacker, not an offensive guy, getting this award. That being said, before we go on to the next ones, any coaches out there who have old linemen who've had a really good game, because it's really hard to get stats for O-linemen.
Yeah.
They just don't exist. I mean, more than likely, if your O-lineman has a good game, you'll never be able to tell. He'll just be dominated as guy. So, and you quarterbacks and you running backs who are like, dude, my guy, my right guard, my left guard, my center had a really good game. Throw his name out to us. We love to get some of those guys. Those guys in the trenches, they deserve some recognition.
That's a good point. All right, Patriot Conference, next conference up, Robinson. And I can't wait to talk about some of these games. But Robinson had the big win against South Lakes. And that'd be Jackson Scaparetto, 15
Yeah.
of 20 in the field general, 171 yards passing, 2 touchdowns for good old Jackson.
Well, you were a big Scaparetto guy preseason. Why?
I was. You talk
Yeah,
about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I brought up the Scaparetto brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's a big game, right? I mean, last year they struggled against South Lakes.
They
And
lost
then now,
I think they lost that game last year. They might have lost it the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
so coming out with the win right there, getting Robinson back on track at 1-1. They didn't fold the tent after a tough loss to South County. So it looks like they've got something brewing over there.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, next conference up. Got the Concord, the mighty Concord, and we got 2. Let's play 2.
Let's play 2.
Who's the first man up? Talk about it.
So the first guy we have is from Oakton.
You got Dalen Jones.
Dalen Jones. I know stat line.
Maybe the game of the week. Maybe
the game of the week. I think we look back, is that going to be one of our upsets of the year? Could that make the list of an upset of the year as far as coming into the game? Mm-hmm. What people thought. So he had a really good game on both sides of the ball. He had 9 catches for 150. And then on the defensive side, he had 10 tackles. So he. To have that kind of offensive output and to be able to play well on the defensive side is huge. And you've got to be exhausted in that kind of game. And that game was a slugfest. It wasn't like it was a blowout where in the fourth quarter he got to sit around for a minute. They needed that guy every second they could. And
let's not forget he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
That's why this kid's going to be good. He's going to be really good.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little about that game. I'll watch that game and we'll talk a little about that. But he had a huge game. And so we have a tie for this.
Yeah, 2 in the Concord.
We have 2. Like I said, let's play 2. So who is our second one there?
Your guy from Madison. As a Niner fan, this guy's looking more like Roger Craig. Dominic Nicely.
Yeah. And what was the stat line for the
Nicely? 92 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. 78 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And then 80 kick return yards.
Yeah. Well, I think we both talked about him being probably one of the most explosive players in the state this year.
Yes,
right. He definitely is going to be up there when the season awards come around for for obviously district play of the year, region play of the year.
Right.
I'm sure the guy's going to be up for all state, and I'm sure he's going to be battling for that offensive player of the year in Virginia 6A.
Yeah, and if not that, it's for the all Hitches. Of the player, this might be the most prestigious award out of all of them.
It might be. We're like the old NIT tournament back when in the 50s when the NIT tournament was important, not the NCAA tournament was not important. Right. It was the NIT. We're like the NIT tournament.
We're like that, like when Madden would give you a turkey leg.
Oh, the good old turducken, huh?
Yeah, we're like Madden giving out a turkey leg.
Yeah.
All right. Liberty. Give me Liberty or give me a quarterback. Well, I'm taking Cole Sandberg and another one that might have gone out as a game of the week in the Herndon Langley game. That's a grudge match. That's a grudge match. 14 of 22, 222 yards passing, 3 touchdowns for Cole Sandberg.
Another guy you were big on, and high level lacrosse player, right?
Yeah.
High level lacrosse guy.
Yeah.
And they needed they needed every touchdown they could get out of that, because with that game was a slugfest. And we'll talk more about that game too. That'll be another game we talk about quite a bit. Yeah. But big players come up in big games, right? And so it looks like Cole Sandberg is on his way to again garnishing a lot of awards for the Liberty and going to have a chance at the region. What they've built over Langley is pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
through adversity and all the other stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Cardinal District. We got your guy, LJ Richards. Colgan, running back. Talk about it.
So give me a second here.
Well, I got it. I was setting up. I got L. I know you're a big fan though. You're a big 149 yards rushing. You got a rushing touchdown. And then on defense, he goes back and makes 10 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. Man's doing it both ways.
Yeah, similar to Jones, right? I mean, and this guy's carrying the football. 21 carries.
Jeez.
21 carries is a lot of damage on there. And then getting the sacks, forcing the fumble.
Yeah,
pretty impressive stat line.
Right.
Going both ways. And in today's football, very few teams have the luxury of having a 2-platoon system.
Right.
So you need your guys to perform, and it looks like LJ and Osborne looks much improved over last year.
Yep.
Wasn't like Osborne's a pushover. So I guess a pretty good opponent. No, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, keep feeding them. And then lastly, Cedar Run. We got our man Vinny Hill, and you watched a little bit of that. You said he was all over the place making plays.
Yeah, he looked really impressive. I mean, he's really explosive. He's really explosive. I know that. Hopefully we get Carl on here to talk a little more about his performance. I know he gave him a game ball as well.
Yeah, Carl gave him a game ball. That is correct.
And at Gainesville, he's got a lot of talent. He's got to compete with to try to garner some attention. But he looked really good. He looked the role.
Yeah, man, good stuff from Vinny Hill. Can't wait to see more of him. All right, man. Those are it. Congratulations to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 this week. 7 players of the week in Northern Virginia. Outstanding work. Now, but wait, there's more. Like Monty Hall used to say, wait, there's more. We got our play of the week, and I know you got something good cooking for us here.
Yeah, in the West Potomac game, another game that was a big time game between them and Centerville. Grant Maloney, who is a high level lacrosse player. As a matter of fact, he is signed with who?
He is going to Jacksonville lacrosse. Jacksonville.
Yeah, he had about a 95-yard punt return for a touchdown. Picked it up off the ground, which is a huge no-no, but proceeded to break around on the outside and score himself a touchdown. And the way that game went, that was probably the deciding score. While they won by 10, that game that touchdown right there kind of put enough distance between them and Centerville. Centerville makes a huge push at the very end, but if he doesn't return that for a touchdown,
he's dynamic. He's a little Tyreek out there. You would not be full of baloney if you said that Maloney is one of the most dynamic players in the area.
Yeah. He's a star, not like Mahoney in Police Academy. He's the star of that show.
I love me some Steve Gutenberg. I'm a Steve Gutenberg fan. Well, good stuff, man. I can't wait to see the highlight of that one put on social media and all the players as well, man. It's gonna be fantastic. All right. Awesome. Well, look, we had the fabulous 5 games, and they, a couple of them lived up to it, a couple of them didn't, but they were showdowns. And we had 5 big showdowns. Let's get into it. Let's get into it here. All right. So starting with our Fab 5 this week, Braddock Madison. That was the name on the marquee.
Yeah.
We led off with, everyone was talking about, everyone said, are you going to the Braddock Madison game? You're going to the Braddock Madison game. No, we did not go to the Braddock Madison game. we saw something else. We're going to talk about that later. But we had people there. We were getting updates. And, it was a hard-fought battle first quarter. Madison pulled away. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, the one thing I came away from the Madison game is Dominic Nicely, one of the best players in the state. But that Madison defense does not quit. Man, they rallied and everything. They tackle well. I mean, they are just disciplined. I came away now I know why when you talk to people about Madison, they say that defense, 9 returners on there, and it shows. And it shows. Braddock is very explosive offensively. They've got a lot of weapons. They've got the good old beer truck, as you like to call him.
Yeah, Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. They got Kai Austin, who we both like a lot. They have Ty Jackson on that team. And then
you got Surus, the other quarterback.
Surus, the other quarterback. They've got a lot to deal with. That is the strength of their team. They're really young on defense. But that Madison defense is just – but these kids, these coaches are all played in big games. They've coached in big games. So, the spotlight doesn't get too bright for those guys.
Yeah. And one thing, I saw Ty Jackson's numbers. He had a pretty solid day. Yeah. Now, and we'll try and get some of the, we got our Braddock correspondent. We'll try and get him next week and try and talk a little bit about this. John Fedora
Lazera
and Adam Lazera. That's the 1-2 punch out there. That's the 1-2 punch.
It is.
That's Mel Kiper and Todd McShay right there. That's what we got. But yeah, we'll try and get Fedora, and we're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk to them, and we might even make a little appearance in their box.
Yeah.
Week, so we head to a Braddock game. But the one thing that I want to ask Braddock, fans about and coaches about, and if we have a chance to, is I don't know what the rotation at quarterback looks like. I do know that I know that there is a rotation.
Yeah.
And I without seeing more, without knowing more, is one a goal line package, is one more of a wildcat, is what the rotation is. Talk about it in general. What are your thoughts on rotations in general?
Well, they did it last year, so I think they have some experience with it. And
not
South County
last year though, with different guys. I'm sorry, you're right. With different guys, not with
different guys. Yeah.
You're right,
and South County is doing that now. South County is doing that right now.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Coach Doc is coaching a lot of big games. They have a really good staff over there. I'd imagine they have a plan over there. Whatever however they're playing. I watched it and they rotated back and forth. I can tell you personally, I couldn't do it. It'd be really hard for me as an offensive coordinator to do that, just because I'm a rhythm kind of guy, and because those two quarterbacks seem to have some different strengths between the two of them. I don't know if you're going to call the same play for one that you would the other based on the game plan. I think for myself that would make it really difficult for me. But I'm not a smart man. That's why I'm currently doing a podcast with you.
Right. But everyone has their own philosophies on this kind of stuff. So yeah. I like hearing from you, former head coach, former OC, kind of your thoughts on that stuff.
Yeah. So I think it'd be difficult for myself just because of the way. And I think I talked about this. I did talk about this off air. What I said was, if you go just by the analytics, then maybe it's a little easier. But if you're a rhythm kind of guy, that makes it more difficult. I related to poker, where a lot of poker players now. I'm not a gambling degenerate. I'm not anyway.
Right. The MGM money,
and the MGM money. But the new fatter player now plays analytics, and so they just make the call based on the analytics. But the old school player is kind of feeling things out. So I think for myself, it'd be rather difficult. But they have experience rotating guys through that. I know they rotated guys last year. I'd imagine they have a game plan with it.
No, I hear you there. It's going to be, it's so early in the season. I think back to a couple of years ago. I think it was like 3 years ago. I think Madison started off 0-2. And teams who struggle early. We could look back on the games like this, and as much as we want to put all this stock in it, right? This is where it gets difficult. We were talking about preseason a second ago, how you can throw out some of the preseason games. I also feel like, not always, but sometimes we could look back on games like this in week 8, week 9, week 10, first round of the playoffs, and go, oh, remember that? And we thought that was important. Well, so much for that one,
Well, you were on a staff where you guys were rotating a young guy and a senior.
That's true.
When you're the Marine Team champion at Woodson. Yeah, you guys had Joe Pazanski, who is currently the quarterback at Holy Cross.
Holy Cross, yeah, senior quarterback.
So you guys had a really young, talented quarterback and a senior returning. I mean, was there any discussion with you guys when you guys were moving them back and forth? I mean, what were the talks? I mean, I don't want to go too inside baseball here with what exactly was going on, but how did you and Coach Van Acker and all you guys handle that?
A little different because the way that came about originally was that the other quarterback got hurt. Or he got sick. I actually got sick, but and he couldn't play the first few weeks of the season, and that made it a little bit easier, because then I know the old you can't lose your job due to injury, whatever. Yeah, whatever. You kind of can, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of quarterbacks out there at every level that I'll tell you can.
Yeah.
But no, I just feel like that. So not exactly the same thing, right? Because it started off with the guy being out.
Yeah.
And then they incorporated him back into the offense after he got healthy. So just a little bit different. But I think I'm a fan, of the two quarterbacks. I like using, I'm talking about in general. I like using, I like what Taysom Hill and the Saints do, I kind of like that. But like you said, it's different skill sets. And I think that's a good thing. I think having the two different skill sets actually makes it better. And that's what you got to do. You just got to find the opportunities when you can, use this guy's skill set. They can use that guy's skill set. So it's kind of fun to keep an eye on that and see, how that grows from here.
Right.
especially of a season. Something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's go on to Westpo Centerville. This is a big game. We talked about at least Braddock and Madison, came into that game 1-0 and, whatever, you win, you lose. You don't want to be 0-2.
Yeah.
You talked about this. You don't want to be 0-2. And in some of the Big Five, there were some teams that were kind of looking at that. But Westpo Centerville, talk about it. What do you think about that one?
So I came again from that game with West Potomac's pass rush is really good. They made, I believe it was Shields at quarterback. Yeah. Pretty uncomfortable the whole night. They were in the backfield a ton. They're pretty ferocious up front. Westpo kind of takes a relatively safe lead, and then Centerville just comes storming back in that game. I think had the game had another 5-6 minutes, Centerville I think had a really good chance to come back and get the win. But the quarterback, West Potomac, he looked really good. They move a lot around the pocket.
Yeah.
Maloney looked really good. I couldn't see on the feed who scored their touchdown. They had a deep touchdown he hit. I think it was Maloney. I'm not sure because I couldn't see by the time the NFHS camera turned there were just a bunch of guys jumping the end zone. Because I didn't even saw who caught the ball.
Yeah.
But I think we talked before though, between Maloney and the quarterback, they're going to be pretty good. And like I said, defensively, they're really stout on defense. But Centerville takes the opening kickoff and scored the touchdown. They got some explosive receivers. The first play they hit a little bubble. Kid just takes off and scores. I do think Centerville is going to be something to be reckoned with in Concord, but they look really good.
Yeah, I mean, remember Centerville's team's still pretty young. Shields is young, right? So I still think they are a team to be reckoned with. I agree. Quarterback, you mentioned him earlier. West Potomac quarterback. Westpo quarterback, Dom Sanchez. I mean, he had an outstanding year last year, and he's a senior. So that's a team. And the one thing also with West Potomac, and I forgot, I was thinking they were 0-1 for a second for whatever reason. They're actually 0-0 going into this game. Remember, they were the one. Right. They were one of the teams that didn't play in week 1.
Oh, that's right.
So they start off 1-0, which is where you want to be, because even worse for them, you don't want to start off 0-1 in week 2, in week 3, right? So they're 1-0, feeling good, exiting week 2.
Yeah. It helps out, right? Getting in there to start off, and it had to be tough, right? Not playing game 1.
Yeah, this is their opener. That was
their opener on the road against a pretty good Centerville team.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, I do think Centerville's going to come into something.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. What might have been the game of the week might have been Langley Herndon, my friend. I know you're all over this one.
Yeah. So Langley's defense really did the job. So I'm talking a lot about defense because a lot of the games I felt like we were pretty offensive centric. I thought Langley's defense did really well against a really talented. We were pretty big on Herndon's quarterback. We thought he played really well last week. We named the player of the week.
Callow.
Yeah, and maybe because we are so important, because we're so important, it puts a bullseye on their back. They're like, oh, you're their player of the week, huh?
Yeah.
We're gonna come after you. But Langley played well. And a lot of Herndon mistakes. Now, I will say this, just off the games I'm watching in general, there's been a lot of flags. I don't remember for a very long time in coaching, but I feel like there's been a lot of flags this year, and it seems like they couldn't get going offensively. They did a penalty here, had to start with double sticks behind it. And the other tough thing was, Herndon was playing really well on first and second down on defense, and then they just couldn't get off the field. They couldn't get off the field. When you're trying to get the ball back to your offense and get them going, it hurts when, that they end up not getting the ball for, 15, 20 minutes because of them being able to get a couple first downs.
Talk to me. You're an option guy. You told me you're on the record. You love the option.
Yeah.
Now, you prefer in gun or not in gun? Talk about that a little bit.
So I prefer, if you're going to run the style of offense that they're running, I prefer under center. I'll talk about from both sides. I'll talk about from the defensive side. It makes it tougher because you can't see the football.
Yeah.
From to snap the ball, if you're running midline, if you're running veer, the end can't see the ball, the linebacker can't see the ball. The other thing is when you're running a play like midline, which I think they're running out of that double slot. When you run midline, a lot of times when you're going to pull the ball, you can slide right off the fullback's backside as he goes through, and then you can find the second hole and get through. Now you'd like to triple it with them sometimes, but a lot of times you'll get that clean hole. You'll pull because you'll go right around that fullback's backside, and then you're right through the hole, and now you've got yards ready to go. Also, when you can't see the football and you're at the mesh point, those linebackers may guess wrong and may not do their job because they're high school kids. And in general, we see college linebackers who will get fooled on it, and your running back will pop through out of the gun. It's a lot more slow developing. That's why I think a lot of teams, when they run option at a gun, they run a lot of zone, because zone's a slow developing running blocking scheme where you have multiple holds go through it, as opposed to veer or midline that you're doing at the triple with at that double slot offense. That makes it a little less, because that play's supposed to hit now. It's supposed to be right now, right through the hole, immediate. And I think the slow developing stuff out there is something that I don't prefer, but
right.
There are teams that run
the upside. But let me ask you this: the upside of being in gun, you got a quarterback like, let's say, like in this situation, we're talking about Callow, we'll say.
Yeah.
And you feel good about your quarterback, and you're going to want to throw it more, right? I mean, that's kind
of. But I think you've got to kind of make some decisions on what you want to do. I don't know what Herndon's offense.
Right.
I think I know what their offense. I think I know what their offense scheme. It's just tough out of gun, because you're sending the ball 4 yards into the backfield every play. I mean, let's just talk about what it is, right? You snap it, it's 4 yards deep, as opposed to under center option where it's half a yard, right? You get stuffed on half a yard, it's not a big thing, but you get stuffed on there and slow developing. So, but if you have a quarterback that can move a little bit, you put him back there. I see, Callow's really good.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes running that offense can be difficult. I'm sure they have a plan there. Again, I'm currently doing podcasts. They're currently coaching.
Yes. So you are working with John Gruden and myself in what do they call it? Gruden had that. He had that the Unemployed Coaches Association, or whatever you called it.
Yeah.
You're working at the Unemployed Coaches Association.
But not to dwell too much on Herndon on it. That double wing, man. If you run that thing correctly,
love double wing. You're a double wing guy too.
So I ran it once, and the problem with that double wing is, and Herndon does this quite a bit. When you run the double wing, when everybody did their job, Herndon would get it for a 3-yard loss. But in that double wing, if one guy decides to do his own thing, if one guy decides not to spill, if one guy decides to do something, it creates a seam, and then they outflank you.
Yeah,
I mean it's not the military, but if they have more guys at the point of attack than you have, it becomes really difficult to do, and it looks like they're pretty strong. So
and they got
they ran it pretty well.
They got Cole Sandberg, who can kind of do a little bit of everything.
Right. And that's their thing is that they seem to be going to a multiple. Now, I noticed when they want to run, they usually get under center. When they want to throw, they go in the gun. Now, it's a tell, and that could be a problem later on, but right now it seems to be working out for them.
Yeah. And you got the Ronk, too. You got Ronkovitz. You got your Ronk.
Yeah,
love Ronkovitz.
And Langley just has their number.
Yeah,
this is six.
They do, man.
6 in a row, and now it's what is it now?
6 in a row, 13, and it is now 2.
They're 2 and 12, so now it's 2. It's 13 out of 15 games.
13 out of 15. Wow.
I mean,
well, I can't wait for the rematch. And that rematch could be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Could be next season. Hopefully, it's in the playoffs. Because that's a grudge match. That's become a good old fashioned Liberty grudge match right there, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Herndon's right the ship every year. Every year they seem to get this early loss to Langley. They seem to right the shit every year. So, they were in the second round last year. I'm sure they're going to figure it out. And sure. There's still time.
And you got Langley jumps to 2-0, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Madison 2-0.
And because Virginia does the PowerPoints,
right?
And Herndon's going to get wins. This is a huge win for Langley because they're going to start piling PowerPoints.
Oh yeah,
because Herndon's going to win ball games.
A huge win. And so right now you talk about the Fab Five. Westpo just played their first game. So Centerville falls to 1-1. Braddock falls to 1-1. Langley 2-0. and Herndon
Yeah.
1-1. So things are starting to get kind of fun. Things are starting to get kind of
Yeah.
fun. All
Yeah.
right. Next up was in the Fab Five was Westfield versus Mount Vernon. So Westfield was trying to get their their groove back.
And it looks like it was a big win.
Yeah, a big win. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Westfield they ran roughshod. All right. I mean, and you had the running team, the wing team. They lost last week, right? They had the tough loss last week against Patriot, right? Yeah. And they're still trying to get things right. Still trying to get that offense right.
Yeah.
Could this be it? Could this be Westfield and the wing T is back, baby?
Yeah, well, they almost had 300 yards rushing. I think they had close to 300 yards rushing. Yeah. And watching the game, they were playing some bully ball. Like they were, they were breaking tackles, bouncing around all the place, they're driving guys in the backfield. But they're playing Westfield football, right? Westfield football is about power. It's not about it's not the greatest show on turf for them, right? They're here to play a little bully ball. You have an emerging team in Mount Vernon. I think both of us like. Yeah. We think they have some pieces.
They got the great quarterback receiver connection.
Yeah, they have Grimsley and Moet, right?
Yeah, but it's hard when you the line of scrimmage it keeps getting pushed back into your face, right? As a quarterback,
right? And I think traditionally, for the last probably good 5 or 6 years, that's been the difference between the National and the Patriot and the Concord, right? Is the Patriot and the Concord are just a little more physical up front. That seems to be what would have been, and not 100% across the board, but it seems like that's kind of where those games have gone. I really wanted to go and kind of see what the records have been conference wise for like last 4 years. That is my next thing I plan on doing when I have any free time. But I really want to go back and kind of look at what the records have been with the national against the Patriot, national against the Concord, and the vice versa, kind of against those districts. But yeah, they were definitely playing some bully football, and you could tell just kind of power wise. I'm sure the Mount Vernon coaches are going back to the drawing board and looking at tackling, looking how they can improve their performance against a pretty good Westfield team.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot to. And again, if you're Mount Vernon, I mean, you got a dynamic connection there on offense. You just keep doing your thing, and you're building something over there. So, I mean, at the minor setback, dust yourself off, get back in there because that's a good Mount Vernon team. They'll be back.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna hold off on Gainesville Garfield. That was the fifth and final Fab Five game of the week. Yeah. We're still hoping that your man, everyone's favorite reporter, Adam Schefter of Nova. All right, Carl Frederick. Yeah. We're hoping he could join us. He's supposed to join us. He was out, grabbing some lunch, so we're going to hope he calls us in a few minutes. We're going to push that game back. Let's jump into the notable games of the week. All right.
Well, I think there's one the game of the week that you loved. Are we gonna gloss over the big win this week?
I am not going to gloss over it. I have it here. And, I had it in our notables. I did not have it in the Fab Five for whatever reason. And, shame on me. Shame on me. So let's go ahead and lead with that one right now.
Yeah.
Let's lead. All right. So the game that let me say this. A team that I've been high on, a coach that I have been high on since the beauty of this is it's documented. And you can go back to early and you can call me Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Did you go with that off the top of your head?
I did.
That's pretty impressive.
Coach Slay turning things around at Oakton. I've been saying this, and they put a tough. We're finding out now that's a tough Langley team, right? Yeah. They put a tough Langley team, low scoring game in week one, and some people, the doubters out there saying, well, maybe it's another, it's going to be the same old for Oakton. Not the same old for Oakton. No. They came out and they answered the bell. They came out with the upset special of the week.
Yeah.
All right. And beating Fairfax. Going for two. Right? To win the game. They said, you know what? We're winning it here. And that's that.
Well, I think I talked about last week that, a lot of the coaches' philosophy is if I have a chance to win the game now, I'm going to win the game now. I'm not going to leave it to chance. I'm not going to leave it to, and Do you want to get into why I think maybe the reasons they wanted to go for two on that? I don't think they wanted to continue. I think they were like, you know, Fairfax did a lot of things. I think the Fairfax coaches walk away from that game thinking to themselves, how did we lose this game?
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
I think they look at that because, if you look early on, it looks like Fairfax has got a chance to kind of run away at the football
Right.
game. Coach Taylor has got those guys playing really well. They're really physical. They jumped into their double wing, and
Yes.
man, they just kept on running it over and over and
Right.
over, repeatedly over and over again. Where Oakland was having some real issues with it.
Right.
But I think they have. I know for sure they had two fumbles inside. I want to say the 15, and then I think they had another turnover inside the red zone as well.
Yeah.
So I mean that's huge. But credit to Oakland. Not every team can take advantage of that.
Right.
A lot of teams, you could argue, when they are, not the favorite, can't take advantage of the other team's mistakes, and that makes a
Right.
difference between when you're trying to create a program.
Right.
But they were able to take advantage of it, and Dalen Jones looked like Calvin Johnson out there. I mean,
Yes.
just
Oh, man.
big, physical, was really difficult to defend.
Yeah.
I think he won every 50-50 ball he got thrown his way. I mean, he was,
It looks like
and to
Calvin
be,
Johnson out there. It looks like Megatron. This
yeah,
guy.
it does look like Megatron out there. I was like, wow. I mean, if you'd have told me that kid was a senior, I'd like, okay, that kid's a sophomore. That kid is a sophomore. That kid's pretty good. And quarterback. I mean, you've got those two kids for another after this year, 2 more years after this year.
And that would be quarterback. Is that Jack Martin?
Jack Martin.
Jack
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah. Who also had a pretty good game. I think he had close to 300 yards passing.
You're
But
right. That's a young connection you got for the next 2 years.
for the next 2 years, and the Concord's not an easy place to play. I mean,
Right.
Madison is really really good. But maybe we're seeing a resurgence of Oakland football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time that I wasn't here for, and I think you might be talking about, where Oakland football was the bee's knees around here.
Yeah, it was. Let me ask you this. I mean, man, it's a feel good win. If you're Coach Slay and the coaches on Oakland, I mean, this is the you plant your flag, right? I mean, this is the win you tell. And I'm talking to your own guys. I'm talking about in your locker room. This is why we work so hard all summer.
Right.
This is why we lift all them weights, right? Bill Parcells. This is why you do all that stuff, right? And right now, this feeling that we feel that the crowd cheering, all that stuff. I mean, this was it, and that's you turn over a program that way, don't you? That'll make.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hurry.
And I think the fear sometimes in the back of your head too, when you're a coach like that, is you don't want the letdown, right?
Right.
Because right now they are on cloud. They just beat a team that's been to the region championship 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row
after a 1-9 season.
Right.
With a quality coach and Coach Taylor and some really talented players on the Fairfax team, you worry you don't want the letdown.
Right.
One, they play in a really difficult district. And wins are going to be at a premium in that district, and so you want to make sure you don't get that letdown. But yeah, this absolutely is telling the kids, I told you, if you just bought into my program, good things happen.
Right.
And here it is.
Man. Well, congratulations to Coach Slay,
and
the Oakland staff and the Oakland students and the players who've been working hard. That is a signature win, and that's the kind of win that you guys take, and that could catapult your whole season. I'm excited to see what you guys do. And for Fairfax, we mentioned this about Mount Vernon a minute ago. That's a good Fairfax team. They're not going anywhere.
No, absolutely.
We know Coach Taylor and Coach Harris and staff. They were up late. They sent someone out on a burger run, and they were up late watching film, getting things ready to go and trying to get right. Now, and they also got some injuries, I think. Outstanding young, Ethan, Marshawn Lynch, right? Beast mode. I think he might be out with the thing. Fairfax is one of those teams that, let's see how they look, down the road, right? When they're healthy and they're rocking.
Right. Yeah. You kind of tell it's a blip in the road, and you got to be able to push past it, right? Yeah.
All right, man. But that was a fun one. All right. Let's go down the list here, right? For the weekend's games. So we got Chantilly and Woodson. That's where we were.
That's where we were.
That's where we were. And I'll tell you what, it was a closer game at halftime than probably a lot of people thought, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't leave. We were going to maybe stop by the Braddock Madison game. We said, okay, well, let's see what happens at Woodson and Chantilly. And it was a little closer than a lot of people probably thought early on.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought Jim Santino looked really good out there.
Looked like what did I say? Looked like a young Mark Bavaro out there.
Looked like a young Mark Bavaro. Yeah. No, he looked really well. I thought defensively they were giving Chantilly some issues. I thought they played pretty well. But the touchdown right before the half really kind of hurt the momentum. You know,
right,
you go into the half in a 1-score game, you're getting kickoff back. You're like, oh man, we're right back in it. But just now it's a 2-score game again, and it's pretty tough to
kind of the Hail Mary before half. Was that Green Bay Seattle years ago?
Oh, the Fail Mary.
It was a Fail Mary there. But it looked kind of like that play where he caught it. They both caught it at the same time, really. Yeah. Whoever turned over with it had it. And and you're right. I think that kind of changed the momentum in the second half of that game.
Yeah. No, I mean, but again, Woodson came out and fought hard again.
Woodson fought hard
and just a couple things, changed a couple things here and there. And I do think losing Gabe Castro in the second half was huge because he again showed what an explosive player he was on offense.
Well, a lot of guys going down with cramps, right?
Yeah.
And
that was the other thing.
A lot of the games. That's probably in
all the games I watched. A lot of guys going down with cramps.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a hot, humid day. It was really weird that the kids are going out with cramps that often. I don't know. Maybe you're not
the pickle juice. You have to get the mustard.
I'm saying we should stop doing a podcast and do a pickle juice and mustard business, and I think we can make some money, especially in September and August games.
Well, maybe I'll reach out to French's or Grey Poupon. That's a classy man's mustard right there. A little Grey Poupon ad.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Do you have any Grey Poupon?
That's
right. Of course I do.
And Chantilly, and we talk about the elite club of 2-0, right? The elite
2-0.
Chantilly's in that club, my friend.
They are, yeah.
Chantilly, good job. So here, Mantry leading them to 2-0.
Yeah. No, they look good. They look good. Definitely going to challenge some more coming into the Concord. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, going down the list. SoCo versus Quince Orchard. So South County versus Quince Orchard. I did not get to see that game. That was a Saturday game.
Yeah.
I know Quince Orchard did win big. That's a tough game. You and I spoke about it earlier. I'll tell you what, there were some South County teams that would have taken it to Quince Orchard, several years ago, right? Their state title teams and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think, we talked about it. I mean, I think Coach Pinoni told us in the write-up at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They're a young team.
Yeah.
So this is more, it's preparing these guys for later in the year, preparing them for the playoffs, that kind of thing.
Well, they took on the chin last year, and they came back to be able to beat Braddock, and
that's right.
And that's why you take that game, right?
Yep.
You take that game because you're trying to get your guys ready for district play, so that way, it doesn't seem, you look at that team as being okay. They're not going to be nearly as the caliber of team that we're going to play, right? Quince Orchard is the team that can play on a national level, right?
That's find me a tough sparring partner, right?
Right.
Find me a tough sparring partner. So I'm gonna need that when I get in the ring against the season. All right. So going down the list, Robinson, South Lakes. Now, my Nostradamus predictions with Oakton have kind of come on. Now, you were big on South Lakes in the offseason.
I was.
Still early. But that was kind of this upset game, and I'll call it an upset between Robinson and South Lakes, was probably, overshadowed by the Fairfax Oakton upset.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think people will be talking about this game a lot more. That's a big win for Robinson. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to see it, but Robinson's playing really well on defense. I have seen South Lakes play, and I'm really surprised where South Lakes is right now. I didn't think they'd be there at all. I thought, from what I saw from South Lakes, I thought they looked really good. As a matter of fact, were they scrimmaging West Potomac? Was that the game that I watched them scrimmage?
I think it was.
And it's interesting, right? West Potomac goes and beats a Centerville team by 2 scores, and South Lakes is struggling. Which watching that film, you would not have thought that. And I think that goes back to what you're saying, where like I don't know how much stock we can really put in watching scrimmages anymore, because what we're seeing in scrimmages and what we're seeing in the season are 2 different things.
You're right. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we kind of have our best of the rest matchups. We kind of went over real quick. A lot of these were, some of them were out of the area. We had Wakefield won big against Anacostia. That's another good win for Clarence Martin.
And breaks a streak.
Yes.
They end the losing streak.
Yes.
I mean, and you hope, right? You hope that you're Herndon, you break the winning streak, and all of a sudden they just start to roll. And what we've heard about Wakefield is that they're pretty athletic.
Yes.
We have heard they're pretty athletic.
Yeah, that's a good win for Wakefield. So congratulations, Coach Martin and company. Going down here, we got
Falls Church, Marshall Falls Church.
That's where I was going to go. I can't wait. I can't wait, my friend, for our power rankings, because I'm going to blow your mind with my power rankings. All right, Marshall right now. Where's Len Dawson and Nick Bonacani, or not Len Dawson? Where's Nick Bonacani and the other 7-2 Dolphins?
I
said Len Dawson. Bob Greasy.
Mercury Morris.
Give me
Larry
Bob
Zonka.
Greasy, Mercury Morris, Larry Zonka. Give me all Nick Bonacani. Give me all those guys to pop open the cork, and because I'll tell you what, they might not be open to the cork. So these guys has Marshall allowed a point yet?
I don't think so. No, they have not. They've not around the point yet.
85 Bears, and you have the 2000 Ravens, and you have the Marshall D right now, buddy. All right, I'm putting them up there. Marshall looks fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. Falls Church is still struggling a little bit. I haven't got a chance to watch either one. I have watched Marshall, not got a chance to watch Falls Church. I definitely on my radar to try.
But that's 2 tough draws. We both like Coach Coogan. Those are 2 tough draws in the first 2 games. So give them some time building a program.
Yeah.
But the Elite 2-0 club,
Marshall's
in it, buddy. Marshall's in the club.
Yeah.
You're not in it. I'm not in it. Marshall's in the club, buddy. All right. All right. Let's go to you might be ahead of me here. W&L and Annandale. W&L and Annandale. Another solid win for W&L.
46-3.
Yeah, there you go. W&L continuing. I mean, they're a 2-0 team, right? They're 2. Annandale still building something over there. Give coach some time. Again, another tough draw for Annandale. What?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give them some time. Some of these teams that are trying to rebuild, and you're getting these playoff teams who were like 2 seeds, 3 seeds a year ago.
Yeah. And I think, although I think what we're talking about though is Liberty football looks like it's pretty good, huh?
Yeah. This ain't your cousin who's a little bit older than you's Liberty District.
Yeah. Liberty District. I mean, your older brother who is currently at Nova Liberty District.
This is not because Liberty, it wasn't. It didn't always struggle, and it had a small window of struggling.
Yeah,
and not that long ago, which is kind of my point, right? So whenever the road, it wasn't that long ago. Whatever bump in the road they had, Liberty's back in full force.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I just like to say my older cousin. I thought that was kind of funny. All right. I'm heading out west, my friend. I'm heading to Hilton and Osborne Park. We got Logan Marshall. You were high on him in the offseason. He had a big day.
Yeah, I think he had like 3 touchdowns.
About 150 yards, 200 yards.
Caleb Van Acker had a couple touchdowns.
Caleb Van Acker, congratulations. Caleb Van Acker. Coach Van Acker in his first victory as a Hilton head coach.
Yeah. I'm glad they were able to kind of bounce back. Those games are kind of difficult to bounce back to, right? I mean, from there. Sure. Yeah. We
got Colgan versus Osborne. I know you saw a little bit of that one. What'd you think about that one?
LJ Richards.
Yeah.
LJ Richards. Yeah.
LJ Richards. So LJ Richards tears it up. Yeah. Right? I mean, the man tore it up for Colgan, right?
Colgan, yeah. Yeah, for Colgan and against Osborne, that's much improved over last year.
That surprised me. I thought
Yeah,
maybe Osborne. I'm hearing a lot of good things, and again, it's early in the season. This could still be a great Osborne team, but I thought I thought they were going to win that one, and Colgan with a not big win for Colgan.
yeah. No, it was a big one, and Colgan I had to bounce back again after the game against Lake Braddock, right?
Right.
Another big loss for them. Next week they come out and they play well and
Yeah.
get a big win out in PW, right?
Right. Right. Um, Potomac and Battlefield. Battlefield ran away with that one. I mean, we knew they would.
Yeah.
The Battlefield's just so dominant right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Potomac and Hilton, who they played last week, two teams that are kind of rebuilding and kind of
Right.
at early stages of a rebuild. I'm looking forward to Battlefield, having to kind of step up the competition a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Battlefield is one of the best teams in the area. I'm not sure who they got coming up. I should probably look on their schedule.
Well, we're saving that, buddy, for our next show. We're saving that for the next show. All right. We got Riverbend Forest Park.
Big win, right, for Forest Park?
Oh, Forest Park, man. You love a ground game?
Yeah.
I might have a ground game in the model you're looking for, buddy, right here. And it's Forest Park is selling them. Forest Park, they got ground games all day long.
Yeah.
We got South Riding versus Patriot. Patriot again, another just formidable team out in that conference. You and I talked about it. Cedar Run is scary.
Yeah. Cedar Run is their top three are probably three of the best teams in the state.
Yeah, they are.
That is going to be a slugfest between those three.
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough conference.
Yeah, it is.
Woodbridge versus Unity Reed.
Big win, right, for Woodbridge. Woodbridge in a pretty big win. Looks like Woodbridge. Well, I mean, a lot of those teams, right, are who's going to replace Freedom in the Cardinal District. All those teams are jockeying for position, and I think Woodbridge is definitely up for one of those spots.
Oh, for sure. By the way, the final score in that game was Forest Park 27, Riverbend 20. So it was a little closer than people thought it was going to be. But Forest Park gets to 1-1, gets off the schneid, as Chris Berman used to say. Right.
Yeah.
And like we said, joining that Elite 2-0 club is Patriot, is Battlefield, right? They are joining that elite club. All right, buddy. And Yorktown had a win against a DC opponent.
Yeah. And it was 20. It was what, two touchdown score.
Right.
But
so
Yorktown
they're also in the Elite 2-0 club. Yorktown.
They are. They play a style of football that kind of, I won't say keep things close, but it unless you're really kind of giving up to the run.
Right.
They play a lot of low scoring games. Right.
All right, so we're kind of winding things down here. Carl might not be able to join us, so quickly, Gainesville, Garfield.
Yeah, so I mean, we got the updates from there, and looks like Gainesville kind of put the game away pretty early. They're really talented. Last year was really close. They have our player of the week with Vince Hill. But I think having Coben Smith back, right, to go along with that passing game, is huge for them. I mean, my understanding, he looks 100%.
Yeah.
I'm sure this was not the result, that Garfield wanted. We both like, at least from what I've seen, I've liked Garfield a ton. But just that Cedar Run, those top three, man, they're pretty good.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Monstrous team. Well, buddy, that was the week 2 kind of matchups there, and like I said, I think week 2 might go down as kind of the sleeper week. I said it early on. Dastronomus said it, or whatever I called myself earlier, Nostradamus. I predicted it, and week 2 was every bit as exciting as we thought it was going to be. But before we go, but wait, there is more. I got a little something I want to share because I'm excited about it. I got a little thing we call the All Hitches Power Rankings, buddy. And I'm going to and I made some modifications this week. Teams are flying off the board. Teams are moving up, moving down. Teams are moving all over the place. It's complete anarchy. Anarchy. First thing I'm going to go with my honorable mentions. Honorable
Okay.
mentions that I thought about, and it came close, but didn't make the cut. So Yorktown, you're there. Yorktown, you're there. You're just so close. All right. South County kind of fell off. All right. Tough matchup against Quick. I'm not going to hold it against them too bad, but they fell off. But they're on the honorable mention list. Oakton worked its way up. Oakton worked its way up. Yes. Herndon came down off the list, but they're lingering. And Garfield kind of came down, and they're lingering. They're right around there. All right. All right. Any honorable mentions for you? You want to get right to the top 10?
I think my honorable mention was Yorktown. Yorktown was my honorable mention right there. Yeah, that was the one I had now.
All right. All right, here we go. Starting at 10, working our way up. I'll go first. 10, Chantilly.
Ooh, Chantilly.
Elite club, buddy. 2-0 is elite club. If you're 2-0, you got to be on this list.
My number 10 was, who's my honorable mention? I think
you said Yorktown, buddy. Yorktown.
Langley is my 10.
Okay. All right. I like that. Number 9, they fell down. Tough loss, though, against a great opponent. So maybe I'm just being tough. I'm being a stickler. But Lake Braddock falls to number 9.
I got South County at number 9.
Okay.
And you're gonna know a trend my 9 and 8.
Okay. West Springfield has climbed up the rankings to number 8.
At number 8, I got Braddock. The two teams that had tough losses, okay. I took them down. But I do think those are two of the top 10 teams in the area.
For sure. I think so too. And West Springfield, you and I had them in the honorable mentions last week after the loss, and they're back. They didn't even play. All right. Maybe I'm not the stickler that I thought I was, but they didn't even play. They worked their way up. But I like West Springfield. All right, number 7, and working up the charts, man. Marshall.
I have Marshall as well.
I'm telling you, Marshall continues to impress, looking like the 85 Bears out there. All right, number 6, I got Langley. I didn't think you gave him enough respect, to be honest with you, buddy.
I'm going to go W&L.
W&L, okay. Yeah, they are a 2-0 member.
They are a 2-0 member.
And I apologize. I didn't even make my honorable mentions list. W&L.
You're sleeping on the couch tonight, bud.
Yeah, you're right. W&L. You know I'm a fan. You know I'm a W&L guy at heart. All right.
Did your wife have her Letterman's jacket in the closet?
Somewhere. I gotta wear it right at the end. All right. So 5. Gainesville at 5.
I have Patriot.
Okay. All right. This is where those see the run teams come. At 4, Patriot.
I have Gainesville.
At 3, I'm gonna wow you right here, buddy. I hope everyone's listening. Everyone, I know the Oakrons are out there listening, and I love you guys, but I got 3. Hayfield's dropped to 3. They didn't play, and it's not your control who didn't play or not. Obviously, it's a bye week, but teams are playing tough teams, and you got your feet up, on the couch, eating some popcorn. You kind of got to go down a couple notches. At 3, I'm going Hayfield. Hayfield's kind of they're resting on the bye week.
I got Madison. Madison's staying in the 3 spot for me right now.
Solid. 2, I got Battlefield.
I also have Battlefield.
Okay. And at 1, I'm going Madison. They beat Lake Braddock. That was a huge win on the marquee game of the week. Took down Braddock. So Madison at number 1, my new number 1.
At number 1, I have Long Beach Poly. They don't play here in Virginia. If they did, they'd be number 1. I'm kidding. They would be number 1, but because they don't, I have Hayfield. I have Hayfield at 1.
Hayfield at 1. So my 1 is Madison right now. Your 1 is Hayfield. We could see a collision at some point. These two number 1s.
That would be if they don't change the brackets again. That'll be the state semifinal. That could be a state semifinal game, right? Hayfield, Madison.
Ooh,
now,
man.
That is not a neutral site, right? That's a home. Is that a home game or is that a neutral site game?
I don't know how anything's done anymore. We'll find out. We'll ask some questions.
I mean,
last year they changed the brackets last year. The order in like week 6. Remember that?
In California, after the first round, they're all neutral sites.
So I like neutral. I think it should be neutral sites. I kind of like that.
Yeah, first round, I don't have a problem with being a home game. I think you deserve a home game if you're a top seed. I think you deserve a home game, but I think if you're if after that, because of you don't play the same teams, it's on the same schedule, I think it should just be neutral sites.
Yeah. Well, buddy, another one in the books. Another
it
good
is
one in the books, man. Week 2, and all of that I can think is better than week 2. Week 3.
Week 3.
Week 3 preview is gonna be pretty good. I can't wait for week 3.
Some big games coming up, and a lot of teams need a win, right? There's a few teams that need to win just because,
yep.
We're going to start to see where teams lie, and no, it's gonna be good.
And there are teams chomping at the bit. There are teams chomping at the bit who are off. They feel like they've been off for like 3 weeks, even though they were only off 1 week. Hayfield, we're just talking about. I know Coach Overton is chomping at the bit to get back out there. Coach Parker, West Springfield, is chomping at the bit to get out there. So there's some teams coming back who have been gone a little bit. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait for week 3. I can't wait for the preview show.
No, it'll be exciting. Those of you guys who haven't subscribed yet, which we did do at the beginning of this show, which we gotta do every time, but we don't. So hopefully, according to our analytics, there are many people here left.
Oh,
those of you if you've not subscribed, subscribe.
I just
those of you who have subscribed, make a brand new account and use that account to subscribe.
Yes.
Use that account to subscribe.
I disagree with you, my friend. I think people are stuck around because people want to hear the top 10 list, the power rankings. They want to hear the power rankings.
Yeah, hopefully. But the computer's lying to us. No one does it.
I don't buy what computers got to say. I think it's all. I don't believe in analytics. I'm a right here, shoot from the hips kind of guy.
Yeah,
shoot from the hips, buddy.
Are you ready to watch more football?
I am. I'm gonna get ready to watch my boys play here in a second. It has been a fun day. And now it's time for more football, and more football. And good luck to your night, my friend.
Monday night. All my rowdy friends are here on Monday night.
Beautiful stuff.
I will be asleep in the second quarter, so I got that going on.
Oh, boo! That's weak.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Us Californians are used to watching football, and our Monday night games start at 6 and they're over at 8. So
you're the last true family man. I mean, it is what it is.
That, and I'm old. I'm tired all the time. Yesterday I took a big nap yesterday. It was cloudy outside. It was cool outside. Laid on the couch, put a pillow under my head, grabbed a blanket, and nice. Oh man, those are the best naps, aren't they? Fall and winter naps are awesome, aren't they?
Oh man, I like them all. I like fall, winter, spring, summer, weekend, weekday. I can nap at any time. I can nap whenever. Well, buddy, it's been fun. I'll see you in a couple days. We'll break down week 3 and do it all over again.
Do it once again.
Everyone out there, thanks for joining us on All Hitches, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
All right.